Elden Ring has one of the most massive, insane worlds I have ever played in. The areas of Elden Ring are certainly deserving of a ranking of their own. Thankfully, there are open world regions and legacy dungeons, meaning we'd get to make 2 videos. Haha. Contrary to popular belief, I actually kind of like focusing on the bosses in these games. That was a joke. While I do love the areas of the Souls games generally, I am not an absolute completionist who searches every area with a fine-tooth comb. This means I won't find every catacombs. I don't stumble upon every secret. What makes this a fun way to play for me is that it feels like a real world. I am just a tarnished, wandering through a completed world, so fleshed out that I haven't discovered every corner. Then, as I replay the game again and again, I may find something new every playthrough. All of this to say that this is not a perfect list. It's just my list from the parts of these regions I've personally seen. I'm not rating these purely on aesthetic or purely on gameplay, but a combo of both. Number 6, Mountaintops of the Giants. I remember when the teasers came out for this game, followed by the network test, which I avoided footage of, I got kind of worried. I was like, will this game be all green? I love the different biomes of the Souls games. Sad face. What a silly man I was, as this game is overflowing with more diverse and colorful biomes than any game from the entire series. And some of them shock you with surprise. When Firekeeper number 4 told me to go to the snowy mountaintops of the Giants, I was like, what? Snowy mountain? And from a visual perspective, this thing pops off. Perhaps my favorite shot in the entire game is this bridge crossing. Although the camera doesn't seem to adjust in any way, it just feels like the most cinematic the open world has ever felt, and is a culmination of all of the brilliant world and art design of the game. Every snowy region in Souls has some sort of bridge, and this one is definitely my favorite. Maybe we should do top 10 Souls bridges. So with the aesthetics being perfect and totally on point from start to finish, why does this end up in last place? Some of the sections can feel bloated and empty, such as the frozen lake or the intro area, though that leads to a cool atmosphere. And some sections can retread previous concepts, such as the multiple smallish castles, with the added problem of a massive difficulty spike. All in all though, what a fantastic experience. Number 5, Mount Gelmir. If this was a list of pure aesthetic, Mount Gelmir would certainly not have ended in the bottom of the list. The ascent of the mountain is a vertical traversal reminiscent of the likes of Blighttown, albeit in a reverse direction. I remember as I climbed ladder after ladder, I wondered, can it possibly go any higher? Only to find another 2 or 3 more ladders. It's as though the mountain is a curtain and you're peeling back the secrets it hides with every step forward. Or upward, I guess. I also love how it gives you perspective, something Elden Ring does phenomenally. I think that the choice to have the Erd Tree as an ever-present symbol almost anywhere in the open world is perfect, as it gives you perspective on where you are, how far you are from it, and it keeps it always present as a goal in your mind. As you ascend, looking back on Altus Plateau and all you're leaving behind gives you perspective to the heights you're actually reaching. Otherwise, it would be a blind ladder climb. The area looks scorched by flame and war-torn by kingdoms. I love the visual storytelling of Elden Ring that leaves subtle clues as to what could have transpired here. The strung-up animal corpses remind me of the entrance of the blood-starved beast from Bloodborne, and sets a truly haunting mood as you delve into the depths of depravity. So, with all this praise, why does Mount Gelmir land in 5th? Well, somebody had to. In all seriousness, I love all these areas, and would give each one at least an 8 out of 10 for quality. The only reasons Mount Gelmir actually places lower is 1, it's much smaller than some of the other huge and dense regions of the game. 2, the enemies are not necessarily the most fun to fight, meaning sometimes I end up sprinting past some of them. 3, Gelmir sounds funny. Okay, 3 is a joke, but 1 and 2 stand. If you guys are enjoying the video, leave a like and subscribe for more content. Thanks a bunch. Number 4, Limgrave. Okay, Limgrave is the polar opposite to the previous 2 entries. It's all content. There's content coming out of the seams in Limgrave. Like, it's hard to believe they managed to pack so much into one section. And Limgrave also includes Weeping Peninsula. So we have the introduction of so many cool concepts, such as the Knight-exclusive enemies, some of which include Knight's Cavalry, Deathbird, and Bell-bearing Hunters. We have the jaw-dropping scale of what's to come, the iconic battle with Tree Sentinel, an inordinate amount of catacombs, a secret pathway under the ocean to an island in the distance, beaches, rolling hills, NPC questlines, and the beginning of our journey. There are so many unique encounters, from smacking Alexander in the ass, to the caravan with the chest with the giants. I didn't even notice it somehow until my second playthrough, but you can actually see Stormveil Castle, your future destination, from the moment you step out of your whatever the place is. The problem for me is the tired aesthetic of the area. While Limgrave is beautiful and the art direction doesn't fail, the visuals don't always pop in the same way some of the later areas do. Limgrave can feel more one note, I suppose, than some of the other sections. A green forest plain with rolling hills is something we've seen before and doesn't live up to the fantastical nature of the Souls games. A good comparison would be the Darkroot areas of Dark Souls 1. While they maintain this green, lively nature aesthetic, it has a haunting atmosphere of majesty, magic, and intrigue. I felt Limgrave was well grounded and real in its design, which was used to create larger contrast to future areas, which bring us more spectacle and awe, but that means that this area lacks in that department. Without Limgrave as the foundation, some of the other areas that are more fantastic wouldn't stand out so much. So I can give it credit for that, but I often found myself itching to get further into the game and see what later areas had to offer. It's not hard to appreciate the density of content, brilliance of enemies and bosses, and introduction of memorable encounters that Limgrave provides. And that leaves it above two other awesome areas. Number 3, Caelid. I'm not sure if this is a hot take or not. It probably is. Caelid over Limgrave? Who wants to leave the first hate comment? Okay, well, as much as it can be infuriating to fight the enemies here, which is probably why most people wouldn't like it as much, it is one of the most unique, disgusting, and downright brutal experiences I've had in a game. Especially if you're a Tarnished who walks here right out of Limgrave. This place messes me up even after reaching endgame. That's just how hard it is, and I love it. There are many sections of it that I have to legitimately sprint through, meaning I don't get to witness every corner of the region. However, this oppressive difficulty spike feels warranted by the absolute depravity of this area. As you wander into Caelid from the blossoming Limgrave, your heart sinks as you hear a droning choir match your dissonant mind. Why is it turning red? Why are there growths on nature? What are these things? Things turn from beautiful to disgusting in a matter of moments, and the enemies definitely follow suit. You go from being surrounded by penguins and eagles to whatever the frick these things are. Caelid is unprecedentedly massive, and while some of it needs to be sprinted through, it's not nearly a content drought. There is the Divine Tower secret, full with essentially an entire area. There is the entire Radahn saga, as well as Millicent in the Rotted Lake. And with Torrent, it's not as much of a pain to get through. There are again interesting visual storytelling elements and world building, such as when the inhabitants of the castle are defending themselves from the invasion of the rotted animals. The thing that truly sold me on this placement, however, is when I was watching a friend play. They had been loving Elden Ring and reached Caelid after beating Liurnia. As they traversed Caelid slowly and methodically, their mental fortitude began to dwindle. They began to feel the oppressiveness of the area and practically couldn't take it anymore. They had to escape back to Liurnia to just have a reprieve from the visuals and sound of a place so insane. If that doesn't indicate that FromSoft achieved what they were going for, I don't know what will. Maybe it's not necessarily as fun, but it is just so intriguing and cool to me. Number 2, Altus Plateau. Upon completion of my first playthrough, Altus Plateau would have easily placed first. The OST is brilliant, conjuring images of Skyrim with beautiful and melodic soundtracks to your adventures. The golden burned foliage of the rolling hills of the plateau are a visual biome foreign to the series, but such an unbelievably welcome one. It signified a true departure from the template of the rest of the game and provides distinct areas in combat. It provides a connecting point to many of the game's best sections, has a massive scale, and a multitude of unique enemy encounters. A perfect example of this is the entrance of Wormface. Say what you will about the combat of the battle with Wormface, but his introduction is spectacular. I remember plunging into the depths of this valley with a broken bridge to see what was going on at this minor Erd tree. As I tiptoed into the mist, I saw the form of a massive being slowly phase into existence. He coughed and cried deathblight all over me until I experienced one of the most brutal deaths imaginable. This moment turned a beautiful area into a horrifying one in an instant. And that kind of diversity within an area is what makes them so memorable. What about the Windmill Village? One of the creepiest reveals of the game. Apparently these women have some sort of festival where they lure men here only to kill them. And the Godskin Apostle at the top of the hill needs their skin, so they team up. The way they dance around and sing, this stuff is all unprecedented for me in games. I have never witnessed stuff like this, and it was just so jaw-dropping to see it for the first time. Altus Plateau truly left me surprised and shocked at how awesome this game could be. But one area ended up even above that. Number 1, Liurnia. Holy crap, guys. The step out of Stormvale and onto this cliffside solidified this game as an instant classic to me. You can go to every single place you see here. I remember sometimes playing other games, I would step out into this vast world like the Ring City from Dark Souls 3 and be so ready to take it all on, only to realize, oh yeah, this isn't an open world. Then we'd head down the specific streets we were meant to traverse and move on. Not in this case. Liurnia showcases everything Elden Ring has to offer. Massive scale, beautiful art direction, genius level design, diversity of biomes, inventive enemies, and a plethora of new ideas. The introduction of Torrent is such a brilliant choice when traversing this open world, but in Liurnia, sometimes I just want to walk to take it all in. As the game went on, the open world sections received a little bit less content as the branching legacy dungeons took precedent. Liurnia, being the second major region, does not suffer from this problem and contains such a vast array of different things, even that like poison area that had like a genocide committed by Gideon. Like, this place is just brimming with content. There's mist rolling gracefully across a ruin-stricken lake. There's cliffs, amalgamations of rocks holding entire castles atop the sky. The amount of times I had to stop in Liurnia just to take it all in, just to witness this world that they created, is unprecedented in gaming history, for me at least, and I hope it was the same for you guys. I think Liurnia has FromSoft at their best enemy design as well, including enemies such as the lobsters, which maybe they're annoying when you're riding on Torrent, but fighting these guys is just so spectacular. The way that there's like moss growing on them, it's hard to imagine that they even managed to pull something so insane off, but they did. How about you guys leave me your ranking of all the regions of Elden Ring down below? I'll be looking to rank the legacy dungeons at some point as well, on top of continuing my other series that I've already begun. Make sure you subscribe and like, check out my Elden Ring playlist for other Elden Ring content, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. See you later.